Hello, my beauties. It's day 3 of the Sovereign Masterclass. I have been waiting for this day since day 1. No, I think longer. Do I have lipstick? No. Self-conscious about lipstick. Okay. Day 3, which is we get to actually start the big questions and have a conversation about the actual action taking and the momentum. That's very, very exciting for me. This is the masculine drop. White drop in the black pool. This is the yang in the yin of this work. And that is what balance is. It's not the golden middle. It is not some state of never-ending bliss. But it is everything at the same time. So today we discuss the empowered action and how to sustain it. Because there's really no point in trying to harvest as much as motivation as you can unless you can harbor it, unless you can sustain it. And so let's begin. And when we begin, we need to start from the beginning. Deep breath. You can stay blissfully aware of everything that is going on with you right now. No matter where you are, no matter how you are, you just are. And that's enough. I want you to be aware of the emotion and the sensations in your body. Usually, when I host masterclasses, I experience a drop in energy around day 2 or 3. And I'm experiencing it right now. I find it to be very gratitude invoking, even to be tired from these conversations. And I know that they tax my presence, they tax my energy, but they do not tax my energetic being. They do not touch the part of me that is eternal. So even if I'm tired, even if there's some discomfort, for you to trust that it's fine. It's more than fine. It's a signal, but only you can give it meaning. So, how are you feeling? Tell me. There are a lot of things that we have been discussing already. And it's only going to get deeper from here. So let yourself know how you are. You can handle the discomfort. You can handle whatever it is that is going on. And right now, you only have to be here. You only have to listen to my voice. You don't even have to look at me if you don't want to. You can close your eyes. Participate in this conversation with your energy only. And I think this is the perfect place to hold this conversation from, because it is very easy to lead yourself and take action when you are on top of the world already. Like we have been discussing, that is the place to make the decision from, to make the commitment from. It's also the easiest place to move from. But as you are an experiencing human creature with this meat sack to hold and to satisfy and to maintain, there are days that you feel tired. There are days that you feel exhausted, even depressed, lonely, sad, overwhelmingly so. And in those days is what this actually counts in. Because in reality, you really don't need motivation or inspiration in days that are blissful already. Because in the days that you feel like you are the queen of everything, is the day that you really don't need anyone to push you. You are already doing things, being the things, feeling confident, taking action, empowered and inspired action towards the goals that we have set already. So those days are taken care of. And those days are the ones that you need to water this seed from. You need to commit those days. And when you don't feel like doing it, these are the conversations you should be having. And the first thing I want to start with is the one that is the most hardest, and which is the most important. And this is the basis of all self-leadership and action, and that is the relationship you have with yourself. And I do not mean the relationship with your body image, or all of that, which is a part of it, of course. But most importantly, the relationship you have with the person you are. What kind of goals does she have? What kind of things she thinks about and tells no one of? What does she do when she's alone and no one's looking? The person you are when no one's watching. Who is that? And how do you react and respond to that person? Because you can be, as a human, you can be both the doer and the seer. You are both the level and the meta level of yourself. That is the beauty of the human experience and human mind. So, this discussion is not intended to make you perfect or feel guilty of not being perfect. But this discussion is about how you see, react, and communicate with this being that you are currently. What are the things that you don't want to look, don't want to acknowledge, but are there? The things that you do that harm you, or the people around you, or your future. What are those things? And what are the things that you do with relationship to yourself? And what do you do when you see yourself sabotaging yourself? I think this is the hardest conversation I've ever had with myself. So I don't expect it to be easy for you either. It also doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be complicated. It is what it is. But this is the conversation of what do you allow yourself to be and do and think in secret. Because the things you are when there's no one else around are the most important things. One of my many coaches and mentors asked me this question some years ago, that if my clients were to see how I am when I'm alone, in secret, when no one's looking, would they still want to be coached by me? And this was a group container, so it was a whole lot of energy to be held at that point. But it is the discussion of accountability. And this does not only touch coaches or mentors or teachers who share their wisdom with others, but also the people who are on the receiving end of that wisdom. This is a conversation of who do you put on a pedestal, for one thing. And second, this is the conversation of who you are when no one is there to witness it. Is the things that you do, are those things for show, or are they for you? Because if you only act according to the plan and the dream and the strategy you have laid out, when other people look at you, when other people witness you and hear you and talk to you, but not when you're alone, not when it matters the most, then it is not for you. Then it is for appearances alone. So this is the defining line of what do you actually want and what you don't want. And I know how this sounds. I have had a brain that would hear this as a tool and use this discussion as a tool to hate myself further. But that is something we have to let go. I know. I have heard the same things. I have been triggered by these things. And it's okay to be. I also think it's the greatest gift to be triggered by someone. Because it shows you what's still there. And what you want to start healing. Because the end goal is to not to be perfect. It certainly isn't to be perfect from the perspective of others. But it is to be improving and developing sustainably for a full lifetime. So when you have done the steps, you have learned the emotional regulation. You have learned to commit. You have learned to listen to your soul, your heart. You have started the journey of more authentic life. And then you know what the steps are because they arise from within you when you have done this work. And you have learned to deal with the villains and shadows that arise and you create. There will be moments that you fall deeper into your own self. And these moments are defining ones. How do you feel about these discussions? Let me know. I need more deep breaths than usual. Today, if you do too, please take them. Please make yourself comfortable. And if there's any part here that you feel like you need to look away from, you need to stop, you need to take a pause, please do. You are free to leave and come back when you're ready. Because these discussions, I did not have them with myself like this, back-to-back days, intensely in an hour. This happened during my 10 years of this journey. And so let's continue. The relationship you have with yourself is the one you have with power. Because how you handle yourself is everything. There's nothing outside of it. Because if you handle yourself with the utmost love and care and respect, you will do that to other people too. When you have boundaries with yourself, you will have those with others. It is simple, it's magical. And so, let's look at this thing, this relationship thing, a bit deeper. I find it best with my clients and when I'm holding these containers to look this relationship from the eyes of a relationship to another person. If you think about a life partner, someone you spend your life with, a romantic partner, and you think about the ideal relationship, it could be the one you're in or it could be something else. If you had all the power in the world, if you had the perfect, most extraordinary partner and a relationship, what would it look like? How would this person react to you when you are at your worst? How would you want them to comfort you? How would you want them to feel you, to understand you? What words would you want them to use? What would you want them to say to comfort you? How would you want them to react to you when you tell them things? Hard things or great things or just daily things? How would you want them to touch you, to look at you? Does it make you smile? It's good. This ideal image of that relationship is the goal. This is the relationship image you should be having with yourself. Every single thing I just said, but with you. How would you want to hear your own thoughts? How would you want to touch yourself? It's a mirror, and it's what you want to be having. And it is the one you should aspire to have. This is the piece we talked about, trust, in day one. If you can have this, or at least strive to have this, it is magical. It is absolutely extraordinary. And this is what it should be. So when I asked you these things, how would you want things to be? There are things that trigger you. One point or another, you realize that there are things that are not there yet. There are things that kind of feel like I'm sticking a fork in you. They kind of give you a little pain. It could be self-talk, that you are not kind to yourself. You don't really encourage yourself. You don't really show love. I have seen all of these in my clients, in my personal one-on-ones. I've seen all the ways of sabotage. We all have them. And as you level up As you take the steps toward the goal, you listen to your emotions along the way. You defeat the villains, you defeat all the shadows. You will learn new things. And you will learn new things that you don't like. Now to the leadership part. How do you imagine a good leader to be? Have you ever had a good manager? Maybe at work, maybe at school, maybe in your life, in your family. The defining qualities that the companies, the best and the most successful companies look for are the ones we want. Generally and universally. And they are empathy, EQ, emotional intelligence. You want your leader to be able to hear you, to listen to you, to fix things, to change things, to make things better, make you more comfortable, help you to be more efficient. You want them to be kind, respectful, honest. And these are the things we want from us when we think about how we lead ourselves and what is the leader in us. Because the authority you have in yourself is dependent on this relationship. You cannot lead because you won't trust the leader in you if they are not respectful, honest, warm, kind. It's so much more efficient to motivate a person with a carrot than a whip. So how do you give yourself a carrot? How do you validate the things that you do and you want in a way that is sustainable? For us as women, we are usually the feminine part in a relationship as a heterosexual relationship. And so we are the usual one to be led. The masculine part of the relationship is the leader most of the time. And so how do you turn that being a good person to be led into a good leadership? How would you want the people you lead to be? Would you want them to be loyal, trustworthy, trusting, encouraging, inspiring, to be able to make good value-based decisions? It starts with the relationship. Take a look at where you are now. What is the one thing, if you corrected in your relationship to yourself, that would fix so much? Maybe it's a self-talk. Maybe it's the moments when you fail at something the moments when you succeed in something, the moment when you're at your worst. How do you comfort yourself when you're at your worst? And how would you want that to happen? What would be extremely helpful to you in a moment when you are grief-stricken or overwhelmed by sadness or something? And the great thing about this is that you are in absolute control over how that happens. You are 100% capable of changing the ways you interact with yourself. The words, the thoughts, they're malleable, they're plastic. You can change them by actively changing them, by actively having different thoughts. Because, like we realized in these 2 days, that you can create emotions, you can also create thoughts. Think about what would be the most extraordinary thing to say to you when you are at your worst, and practice that when you are. It is so very simple. And you will want to do this, because I know that when you are at the low, there's so much going on, so much. And for most of us, it is hard to be kind when you are there. But when you start this journey of self-love, self-development, and learning these disciplined things, you will want to love you when you are at your lowest, because the partner you would want would be there. And they would not need any receipts. They would not need reassurance that this will not happen again. They will not need proof that this will be fixed soon. It's just a matter of being there. And you can be there for yourself. Because if you can, and if you can trust that, nothing's in your way. This will break all of the things that make you codependent on others. This will break the toxicity you might have with the relationships you currently have, the relationships of bargaining and power shifts. Because you are able to be there for yourself when you are at your lowest. And you can pick yourself up and start again. You can commit and recommit and get to work. And this is more a matter of practice than it is personal abilities and traits. Some of us modeled the kind things the people around us said to them and to us when we were growing up. Some of us modeled something different. Most of the time, people who come here have modeled something else. There is a question of worth and belonging. It is a question of, do I deserve good things? Do I deserve to be comforted the way I need to be comforted? Are the things I ask too much? Am I too much? Am I too difficult? I have seen hundreds of women like that, and men too. So you are not alone if you feel those things and think those things. But I want you to know that if you could program them into your being as a child, you can program something else now, consciously and diligently. So as I am right now feeling discomfort, I feel tired. I also feel like I'm not making any sense, like most of the time when the energy drops. But I know that you hear me and you understand me, and you can see the things I talked today in action right now. You can see me being kind to myself, being honest, giving myself what I need. You can do it too. It's already in you. This is a big thing. It is a huge conversation. And it's not something you can just hear me talk about and then you are reprogrammed and ready to go. This is something you will have to do on your own when no one's looking. You are more than capable of having these conversations on your own, leading yourself through them and being with everything that arises. Because the thing I just gave as an example of would people who see me at my worst, people who see me cheat on myself, would they want to still pay for my experience, my words, my time? It shows you where you are and what you want to improve next. And this is not only about the physical things. This is not only about whether or not you cheat on your diet when you are trying to become a healthier version of you or alter the way you look. This is about how do you face yourself when no one's looking? When the relationships end, when you break up, get a divorce, you are fired from your job, you bankrupt, you something. When you lose a friendship, when there are just too many no's and it just crumbles. Who you are when that happens is when it counts. Because, like I said, when things are rosy, when you're inspired, for example, after this masterclass, after these 3 days, you feel on top of the world, you feel like you have the tools, you can conquer everything, you feel a spark. And when it is that your fuel tank is empty, is when it counts the most. How do you handle the thing that is too much? How do you handle being overwhelmed, burned out? Who you are when it counts the most. And usually, when it counts the most, there's no one there. There's no one else to pick you up. There's no one else to lean on. And most of the time, it happens in total silence. The change you're looking for happens when no one is looking. There are no celebrations. There are no one else to applaud you for your strength. No one sees it, no one hears it. It just happens. And the only witness is you. When you let go of something and realize that you can do what is necessary, you can pick yourself up and continue. You can put more gas in the tank, and you know how to do it. And this is the second part of this. It is how you fuel yourself along the way. Because we know that if you only put gas in the tank when it's empty, you will not get far. If you only react to your tiredness when you are burned out, you will be in a cycle of burning out, healing, burning out, healing for the rest of your life. And you can take these words as someone who knows. Like I told you about my past, I've been an entrepreneur for long. I was a soldier for some time. I was an athlete for another time. And it was not easy. I have been burned out a lot. I have been in this circle, in this cycle of self-deprivation, of this slow death. Because being in this, it's not a life. Living only when you are a little healed and then pushing too hard just to see yourself fall again, it's not a life. And for most of us, it can be a way of letting the fears control you. Because even though for me it was inability to control my own energy levels and foster my resiliency, manage my stress, physical, mental, spiritual, physical. It still wasn't about that. Because you see, when you are constantly without fuel, it is the safest place. Truly. Because when you are incapable of moving towards the thing you want to do, there's no pressure for you to move. There is no fear of failure. There is no potential of failure, even. You cannot fail when you don't move. So you choose death over life because you're afraid. And this is what I was. I was afraid to see my businesses succeed. I was afraid of my relationships flourishing. I was afraid of accomplishments, even more than the failure part. Because I was more afraid of the actual success. I was more afraid of being seen, being heard, being successful, being paid to do what I do, being having any kind of fame, or anyone knowing my name, or anyone knowing what I do or what I say, anyone listening. And it was the most crippling fear I ever had about anything. Because I'm good at failure. I fail a lot. That's how I learn. I am a 3-5 lines. So I'm here to fail, learn by trial and error. If you believe in that. And I'm here to tell you what not to do. And I'm here to tell you what to do instead. So, what I want the most in the world is to see that you choose life over death. In this sense and in every other. Because when you are constantly out of fuel and you are in a pause all the time, you will never get anywhere. And this doesn't mean that you cannot take rest. You cannot be pause mode for a while. But I want that to happen from your own willing. I want you to take rest periods when you want them and not by having to do it because you can't do anything else. I want you to rest before it's not too late. And this is part of the fueling system you need to sustain. There will be times when you run out of fuel and it's not by your own doing. Life will hit you down. But even then, you need to be the person who puts the fuel back. And you need to know what your fuel is. What is the self-care that you need the most? What are the things that give you the most energy? It could be anything. For me, it is sleeping without an alarm. It is having my mornings as sacred, as holy, as quiet. It is some form of movement, certain kind of nutrition, supplements, work that I love in amounts that I can do. For me, it is leaving the masculine doer hungry at the end of the day. I very rarely push to the limit that I no longer want to do the work. This is one of the most magical things. And I think this was one of my coaches who said this a few years ago before I moved here to Iceland. I was in a small group container with these amazing women, and it was the coach's advice to leave the masculine hungry. And this means never overdoing it, never pushing so hard that you start to feel disgusted by your work. For me, for example, I'm very much in a flow state when I do my visuals, when I plan, when I write, when I actually create something from nothing, when I create stories and posts, and I write them, and when I do the visual graphic design part of my work, I have often overdone it so that when I come back to a design, I hate it. Because the truth is that if you cannot wait to get back to work tomorrow, it's the most amazing thing. So if you are in charge of your own workloads, design them so that you can leave the masculine doer in you hungry, and then take rest. And then goes the rest of the day to fuel. Because stress is not only mental or cognitive, it is not only caused by thoughts. You get physically drained as well, especially when you do leadership work or thought work, like me, like most of us here. It's not sustainable to every day give it your all. As a matter of fact, I want us to rewrite the meaning of giving it your all. From now on, giving your all means that you give 99% or less. Not more than 99% of the day's energy. So that the 1% that you leave in the tank, you will fill out, and it will give you satisfaction and a craving to get back to it the next day. I hope these things have been helpful. I hope this conversation has given you the support you need. This is the end of the module 3, day 3 of the Sovereign Masterclass. It has been a wonderful journey. And honestly, I had very little notes about these days and the structure. 5 minutes before I hit live the first day, or tried to hit live, I just wrote down the structure and that was it. But I knew before that I would want it to be 3 days plus 2. So we'll have 2 days rest. Monday, Tuesday will be days off. And then we will have 2 finish calls, back-to-back days, about these, which are going to be exciting. Day 1, we went through the emotions, the beginning of new paradigm, discipline, and power, and how that relates to a human experience, how that relates to the power you have. The second day was decision day, energetic projections, how to commit to something, how to find your why, how to feel the things and move towards a decision, how to commit to a dream, how to recommit. And today was about taking action, how to move I feel not depleted, it's the wrong word. I feel like I've given, and that is a wonderful feeling. I feel like there's no other way I could have done this. This work has been brewing for the longest of times. I'm so grateful it was here. So, I want to spend a few minutes talking about the things that are coming next. For the ones who are non-Finnish speakers, I have not yet decided what I will do to this course, these videos, but for now they are here for you to watch, to hear, listen, to look at as often as you like. If you're watching a recording, please let me know how you felt. Comment, share. These 3 days have been groundbreaking for me. Like I said, I'm a trial and error person. So when I come here with a empty page, empty canvas, the painting is usually amazing and unique. So if you're complete and you don't want to hear about the upcoming courses, thank you. Thank you for being here. Those of us who want to stay in here, listen to me about upcoming courses. We have a Dripping Resilience course, which is a longer term course coming sometime around this summer. The dates are not final, but I can tell you that it is a multi-module thing, which is something out of this world. And the sole purpose is to reconnect you with your power, your pleasure, and to teach you stress management that is sustainable, not boring, and something that excites you when you think about it. It will be a new paradigm around stress management. It's a feminine way of doing that. And additionally, it's going to have a bonus module around exercise, movement, and all that. I was planning on doing a cycle conscious short course, and I might still do that, but I also want to add it to the dripping resilience modules. I feel it completes the work. And I will keep you informed from that as soon as everything is finalized. If you want in already, DM me, comment, everything. I will be there for you. And for my Finnish speaking people, there are two things. Eternal expansion that I mentioned the first day, which is the void work, duality of the void. And then there is iconic feminine energetics, which is feminine energetics in leadership. It is a complete work of being a woman. From level 0 to everything you ever need. It is magnificent. Currently it's only in Finland and in Finnish. I'm thinking of recreating it in English. My audience is mostly international. We will see. It is also very much culture sensitive. I feel it works so well because it is in Finnish and for Finnish people. I also have other things coming. I have one course that is still unnamed. It is still very little details about it have come to me. But this is about body wisdom. This is about sacral authority. So if you're like me, who has a gut feeling about things that is very strong, but you don't know if that's fear, intuition, or guidance, this is for you. If you mistake your intuition into something else, this is for you. This is how to intuit, how to listen to your body wisdom, the ebbs and flows of it, how to listen to the movement and the sound that rises. And it's very embodied course. It's a skill set and a tool set, but there are no details around it yet. It might be coming soon or not, but if you want to keep information circled around that, let me know. There's also a third thing that is coming. So the sacral one is going to be in English. But there's also a third thing, which is a relationship course. I think I would say it is self-empowerment course. It's going to be similar to IFE, but very different. It's going to be something around love, dating, dignity, accountability, and sex, of course, because it's me. There's very little things that you can get from me that are not pleasure oriented or self-love oriented. And so, if you need any details of these, let me know. I'm here for you. I'm here to serve you. Thank you for joining me for these 3 days. This course has been everything. I'm so glad I get to close these English modules with you. So grateful. Thank you. Bye.